Hello, my name is Ariana Gutierrez, and I'm a third year here at UCSC, and I am majoring in both psychology and sociology. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to move on to the interview process, and I look forward to hearing back from you guys. So for the first question, if I were working with other RAs that have not completed their assigned tasks and with the deadline quickly approaching us, I would first approach them in a really calm and collected manner, and I would ask them how their roles in the tasks were coming along. I know that as a student and a leader and a friend, it's really hard sometimes to balance schoolwork, our personal lives, RA tasks, because I am applying to hopefully continue to be an RA, and I know that sometimes things just get caught up with us, and it's hard to balance our different aspects of our daily lives. But going up to my fellow RAs, I would also want to remind them that we're all supposed to be working together to make sure that the tasks are completed on time, and that communication and organization is really important, especially when we're supposed to be working as a group in order to make sure that our events and other planning for activities are completed on time and successful. And depending on the responses that I receive from them, I would offer to help the person if I feel like I can offer some time and assistance to them. But I would also want to enforce that communication between all team members is very important, especially when specific tasks are unable to be completed for whatever reason. And then another thing that I would also do is that I would make sure to tell my supervisors, so my CREs and my other office members, about the situation, and I would inform them that specific group members are not really completing their tasks on time, and that they are not really contributing in the way that we are all supposed to be working together to contribute to make sure that everything gets completed on time. And once my CRE is made aware of the situation, I would explain that I have been personally contributing, and I would tell them that I have already tried to talk to my peers and that we're now communicating with one another in order to complete the tasks. And I would tell them that I just wanted to let them know in case anything were to arise with whatever it is that we are working on for our event. Now, for the second question, one time that I observed that I felt needed to be addressed in my residential community was that there were many instances in which the toilets on my floor, so for me specifically, I'm on the third floor, and this was a big issue that my residents were also talking to me about, and it was that toilets were not being flushed properly, so that there were just lack of hygiene and cleanliness in toilets, and they were also complaining to me about hair that was collecting in the shower drains and food scraps being left in sinks. And to me, this was a very big issue because myself and my residents were beginning to feel uncomfortable with the lack of hygiene and cleanliness, especially in shared and communal spaces. And so I took that as a sign to want to take action before the situation got worse. One of the main things that I did to better the situation was that I had sent out multiple emails and announcements in our Discord group chat, which is the main form of communication between my residents and myself. And in each of the announcements, I had stated that multiple students had come to me with complaints about how it was unfair and inconsiderate of community members not cleaning up after themselves, especially since there are multiple people that are sharing showers, toilets, and sinks. And so I made suggestions to keep paper towels close to them while they were brushing their faces and their teeth, as well as flushing the toilet twice to make sure that everything was just clean and a more comfortable space for everyone to use. And then I feel that these constant announcements and suggestions, being informed of my residents and telling them that these were issues that were beginning to come to me by multiple various members of the community, And I did notice that there was a significant improvement on the situation. And collectively, like, my residents also came up to me and they were telling me that they felt more comfortable with using the restrooms and showers. And to me, it showed that it really takes a community to make change, and using my RA position, I was able to make sure that everybody just felt more comfortable and really more just better about themselves when using the facilities that everyone used. So for the third question, this was on one of my first on-call shifts as a new RA, as this is my first year. And I was faced with a really scary experience that kind of forced me to jump into action and to really use my newly acquired RA training skills. And the incident was that there was a severely intoxicated student that had been found by another RA that was not on call, but that specific RA had called the on-call phone, which just so happened to be me. So this RA quickly told me that they had witnessed a student that was passed out in one of the parking lots here in Crown College, and that they appeared to be really intoxicated and unconscious. So after I was made aware of the situation, I directed the RA who had called the on-call phone to call an ambulance, since they were personally with the student, so they were actively on scene and they had more information about the student's condition. And I was also making my way across the college to get to them so that I could also take notes of everything that was occurring. So after I had told them to call paramedics, I had called the CRE on call to notify them of the situation, and I had told them that paramedics had been contacted and I was making my way to the scene. And once I arrived at the scene, the other RA who had called the on-call phone was catching the CRE up on the situation, and I just quickly began taking notes about everything that was happening. So I tried to document as many details as possible, like names, times, locations, and other information that was very important, so that an incident report could be created. So after this whole incident had occurred, it made me realize that this experience was not something that I would have expected to happen so soon in my career as an RA, as again, this is my first year as an RA, and this incident had occurred maybe week 2, week 3 of the school year. So I remember that this situation had occurred in a week where so many chaotic new experiences had happened to me involving residents and my personal life. So this experience threw me headfirst into the more difficult aspects of being an RA, but while this experience was scary and pretty new to me, I also felt inspired and really motivated to try to be the best RA that I could be, because it made me see that all residents needed to be safe and supported, and I wanted to be the person to create that safe environment for them. And I also learned that I could be calm and collected during stressful situations, and that others in my amazing RA team and CR team and everybody else that works with me is just there to support one another, and it really creates a sense of community. So for the fourth question, is that my experience with residents has been both positive and negative. And one major positive is that because my residents are continuing students, they are already aware of housing policies and school policies, so they do not really give me issues with noise levels or major disagreements, because they kind of already have an idea of how the school works and just how everything works here in the residence halls. This was a really big plus for me, but sorry, I'm a bit sick, but this was a positive, but it was also a negative, because as they are continuing students, they're more likely to keep to themselves and not really interact with RAs or even with each other. And it was definitely a struggle because of that to get my residents to complete living agreements and to schedule one-on-ones with them. So I had sent out multiple emails and Discord messages to them, and I also hung out signs that I had made for them, and I even tried knocking on doors, trying to remind my residents to complete their living agreements and to sign up for one-on-ones, as those are very important for building community and really building connections with residents. And overall, I feel like it's really important to build community, and I think that actively talking to residents as I pass them in the hallways and stairwells, or even while brushing my teeth in the restrooms, can make me seem more approachable and friendly, which in turn will hopefully make residents in the future quarters that I will be RA for this year and hopefully next year. And for the rest of the year and hopefully next year, I will also try to engage more with my residents by possibly inviting them out to eat with me if I see them in dining halls, or even making conversations outside of the residence halls. So for the last question, to me, social justice in the RA role means to provide resources to residents so that everyone has the opportunity to succeed in their personal and academic lives. Leaving home and coming to a new place, such as UCSC, is pretty scary, especially if you don't really know anybody. And as an RA, I know that it's really important to point residents to resources on campus that will help them do their best and excel in everything they do. And some such resources include CAPS, or LSS tutoring, or even DRC if it applies to them. As for equity in the RA role, I have seen that some students might need more support in some areas compared to others. While one student might need more support than others, it is also important to provide this support and just gently guiding them and making them aware of all the resources that we have here on campus that are available to them. And an example of this is that one student might feel more isolated or unmotivated to complete schoolwork and attend classes. And while all students have resources on campus, such as access to CAPS or SHOP or guidance counselors, sometimes particular students might need further assistance in their academics or mental health. As an RA, I would not single out the student individually, as it is completely fine to sometimes need more help than others. And instead, I would suggest to the student to attend tutoring sessions with LSS tutoring, or visiting the ARC Center, or even encouraging the student to consult CAPS for any mental or emotional needs that they might need help with. And as an RA, I know that there are resources for students, but as a student too, I know that sometimes students struggle to push themselves to seek and obtain help. And with my position as an RA, this is something that I can do to make sure that all students obtain the help and resources that they need to succeed and be confident in themselves, regardless of the obstacles and challenges that they might face along the way. Thank you for listening to my interview questions, and I hope to be working with an amazing RA team again next year. Thank you.